It is 2:30 in the morning and an Eastern time zone for us Florida State people that cover the team. And Florida State just lost to Stanford. And this is no joke. This is no prank. This is, not us trying to stun anyone. Florida State, I didn't think I'd say this in my lifetime. And I'm still young. I'm young. But Florida State lost to Stanford. Not in soccer, not in women's soccer, not in table tennis, not in even in like a math competition. This time it was on a football field, and Florida State lost 20-13. Florida State now is 3-4 on the season. They're 0-9 in their last 9 ACC games, and have not won an ACC game this year. Here we are. I mean, it's quite embarrassing of a program, and I think that's all. I mean, I thought it was all she wrote after the Pittsburgh game from Mike. You wouldn't get rid of him after that game immediately, and you would ride the season out as long as you can. But if you lost to Stanford with 12 people in stands, you had more FSU fans in the stands than Stanford fans. It's a fireable offense beyond belief, and that decision will probably come by 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. But with me this evening is Austin Veazey, our lead basketball writer, who's just excited more than ever to get to basketball season, and Dustin Lewis, our editor-in-chief. Gentlemen, good morning. Happy Sunday to you guys. Got about 600 of you crazy freaks with us watching this morning. Gentlemen, y'all's first thoughts on that brutal loss?
It's a tough one. It's a tough one. Like we said, if the loss to Pittsburgh last week was really kind of the turning point, there's no going back. I mean, I think like you just kind of alluded with this one. I mean, a loss like this to Stanford and just the way this game was played. I mean, it was an ugly performance from FSU, countless mistakes and all three phases of the game. I mean, back-breaking penalties on special teams that then extended drives for Stanford or led to missed points for you. And I mean, just all over the place. An ugly result for Florida State. I mean, this could very well be the one that forces the administration's hand.
My first thought is, this is going to sound crazy, but Tommy, be okay. That hit was crazy there at the end. As erratic as Tommy was in this game, he was still playing his heart out. So first thoughts up to him. Secondly, I'm not blaming this game on officiating whatsoever. This game was a mess the entire way through. And part of that's Florida State's fault. When you get to delay a game before your first snap, bad omen. That's just a bad omen.
I didn't even get to see that because that's
a you problem. That's a you problem.
They had to go to an overtime, but no, it wasn't just me. I saw people tweeting as well. Why do we have to have an ESPN package to get to ESPN News if I already have YouTube TV and I've got everything imaginable to watch every Sunday game for NFL?
I was able to watch
that's
it
a
just
different
fine,
point
so.
There.
I was able to watch it just fine. That's a you problem. Another discussion. Yeah, but between that delay of game, the delay of game on the first Weinberg field goal attempt that was blocked, the offsides from, I forget, was it Daniel Lyons that jumped offsides? Yes. Everyone saw that coming. Everybody
and
saw
you
it
had
coming.
the Edwin offsides too on the Stanford field goal that leads to a touchdown. He gets beats inside on the slant for the touchdown. I mean, that was just a brutal moment.
There was James Williams roughing the passer, which was at best a 50-50 call. I know none of us are James Williams fans. That was kind of a bullshit call.
Like Nicholson hold on the punt return.
There was just a lot.
Yep, that was a bad one.
Lot of strange calls that, had they gone the other way, who knows? But no matter what, Florida State was poorly disciplined. There wasn't any accountability for that lack of discipline, and you could say there wasn't any bouncing back from the Pitt loss, but we saw them bounce back from 3 straight losses a few years ago and rattled off the rest of the season. There is no coming back from losing to Stanford in this fashion when their starting quarterback got hurt at the end of the first half. Their starting right guard got hurt at the end of the first half. Their starting running back got hurt like at the end of the first quarter. There's no coming back from this. There's not.
Go ahead.
All I'm going to say is I hope Coach Norvell likes Lake Tahoe because he's about to get an extended vacation there.
And I mean, the defense, I mean, obviously there were some really rough moments in this game, and you gave up some extended drives. I mean, that 94-yard 13 play, one that went over 7 minutes. I mean, that was just, it was tough to watch play after play. I mean, FSU's defense just had no answer consistently for Stanford. We're able to step up there, force 3 consecutive punts to end the game. And, they did hold, they did hold Stanford to 20 points in this game. And Florida State's offense puts up a season low 13 points. I guess 10 points is better than the 3 you had in the second half, but 10 points in that first half, that was a season best for Stanford. Every single opponent on their schedule had scored 14 or more in the first 2 quarters. And, you have that performance from FSU, and then you come out and just have the 3 in the second half. So, I mean, it was an anemic performance from this Florida State offense, where you look at the total yardage, and I believe Florida State outgained Stanford in this game 444 yards to 293 and puts up just 13 points.
And the crazy part about that is no turnovers.
Yeah.
Like, you had 400 and basically 50 yards of offense, no turnovers, and scored 13 points. That's honestly kind of impressive in its own sad, horrible way. We haven't even talked about the final play where Sawchuk was in, like 30 years after the Dunn was in at Virginia, and it wasn't called. Sawchuk was in. It doesn't matter. Like, we'd still be talking about the same things tonight. Sawchuk was in. It doesn't matter. But how you lose that game, 450 yards of offense, no turnovers, and only put up 13 points is truly baffling.
I thought he made it in real time, but also, I mean, just pitching to you guys in the crowd, how was Florida State able to get off that snap with 2 seconds left in the game? You had the long pass to Mekhi Danzy, no timeouts for FSU. So they were able to get up there and snap it. That kind of
Stanford ran the clock. They didn't stop the clock when Danzy caught it. So the officials had to add the 2 seconds back on there, and by then Florida State's already set, so they could get that play off.
Yeah, I mean, all the way, just a complete cluster F all throughout the evening, but certainly there at the very end, and Florida State was still given a chance. But I think, to me, fans don't really care much more about the game. I don't think so.
No,
nor do I really too much. Nor do I.
Even if they eke this game out in overtime, we're still having the same exact discussion.
I would have to say to you, I know there's a lot of diehards listening, and we're alumni to FSU as well, but you're kind of watching that game and you're like, if it's time to move on now, I've got my answer on Mike and where we need to go. And if FSU loses, oh well, type of situation. I mean, it'd be great to see an incredible experience there happen with the true freshman with Sperry, and he was trying to do as much as he could there in such a insane situation that he's been in. We thought James Blackman had some crazy situations, but man, Kevin Sperry was put in a very tight spot here in order to save Mike Norvell's job. But you can't rely on a true freshman to do that, nor do you really want to, because Mike, you're fed up with him. You're done with him. You know what you're going to get from him. And you could tell. I want to ask you guys, do you feel like some of these players you did see the fight there, and you do see that, but it's always at the end of games. But in some regards, we saw Mike Norvell getting into the face of Edwin Joseph and them going at it. They had to be separated on the sidelines. I saw that on a video earlier this evening, but it just feels like some of these players kind of don't want to play anymore. And you got the 2024 vibes all over again tonight. That's how I felt for some of these players. I mean, I look at Daniel Lyons. If you're making that mistake as a veteran, you don't want to be out there. It's plain and simple.
I will say the last 3 games, during the losing streak, I didn't see much of a drop off for Florida State and effort and energy. Like, they were still out there competing hard. They just made too many mistakes to win those games. But then tonight, I mean, there were some clear times where it seemed like the team is beginning to let go of the rope a little bit. And, you mentioned that moment with Edwin Joseph, Mike Norvell, challenging the guys. It seemed like the halftime huddle, like there were some guys slow to get over there. And Mike Norvell was getting on them. So, yeah, I mean, we've seen it now in back-to-back weeks, him having some moments with assistants and now with players. And, it does feel like things are unraveling a little bit. And, for the guys who are on this roster who were here last year, I think it's hard not to revert back to that feeling because, you have all those losing streaks last year, finished 2-10. And then now, you're back into that same cycle, and it just seems like it's so hard to get out of. And they've made those changes with the offensive and defensive coordinators and the coaching staff. And they brought in other guys, and you're right back where you were a year ago. And remember, it's not year 1 or year 2 or year 3. It's year 6 for Mike Norvell in Tallahassee. We're in the middle of the season, and this team has regressed. I mean, week by week.
Yeah, I mean, there are some players still fighting their asses off, like Tommy was until he went down.
Deuce,
Well, I don't know about Deuce. There's a few plays there at the end. He was loafing a little bit.
It's just that's the only wide receiver sometimes that
I know. I know. Trust me, I know.
Coming off an injury and
Danzy was still
yeah.
fighting his ass off. I'm super excited about what the future looks like for him. But yeah, there's especially in that first half, it's like, what are we doing? It just, at least for most of the last few losses, the offense was okay. It wasn't disastrous outside of, the Miami game was what it was. The offense was just disastrous for the first 4 quarters of this game. They just couldn't do anything. They couldn't get in a rhythm. And anytime they did get in a rhythm, they found a way to get themselves out of it, whether it was a penalty, whether it was going away from the run, whatever it was. They just, it was as frustrating of a watch as I've seen in a long time.
Yeah. I mean, it really just felt like they were sluggish for the majority of the game. And you had a couple of those big shot plays that you were able to hit in the passing game to Deuce. And, you had the one to Chroma, and obviously Makai's able to come through with a couple in the fourth quarter, but they were few and far in between. And, for me, I think we talked about it in recent weeks. Gus Malzahn was really trying some things play calling wise against Miami and Pittsburgh, pulling out some trick plays and things that we hadn't seen before. As much as he went maybe too far in some of those recent games, tonight, to me, it just felt like too vanilla, too predictable. Yeah. And, if I'm looking at the TV and I know what's coming, the guys on the other side who watch film every day, they definitely know what's coming.
That was as bland of an offensive game plan as I have ever seen.
Yeah,
it was unbelievable.
And you would think maybe blandish could work against Stanford because it's not a great football team. That's the next thing that just irritates your mind like no other. It is a bad football team you're facing. Like Stanford is bad, and they got even worse in this game by losing multiple starters, like you'd mentioned earlier, Dustin. Starting quarterback, starting running back, right guard. They're without a corner. I mean, it just kept on going. Yeah. It just kept going and going of how like Stanford was already bad, but they got worse, and FSU was able to lose to this team. I do feel like we're being pranked or we're in some kind of dream of some sorts. It's been a very, very long 2-year dream, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my good God. But I mean, how is that even possible at Florida State? That is the hardest thing to do, I think, and we'll ever see. I hope so, but I hope that's the craziest things we've ever seen. I don't know how that's even possible. Like I'm still trying to wrap my brain around. It's also 2:45 in the morning. But I mean, it's atrocious offensive play. And then you also had right off the bat, Stanford going down your throat, eating you alive, eating Tony White's defense alive. Like we've seen it happen all throughout the season, except for the first 3 games of the year, just eating you, dicing you up. That's tragic. That's pitiful. 2 extremely, extremely long drives from Stanford, and they just cannot get off the field once again. And also, too, Jerry Wilson, we were talking about penalties earlier in the game, had a penalty there in the end zone and allowed more points for Stanford as well.
That one was, granted, we didn't get a great replay on that. That one was also kind of weak from the angles we got. But yeah, especially because the ball was
definitely wasn't you can't catch that ball.
The ball is still
penalties are penalties. You put yourself in those situations, and this is what you do to yourself. But yeah, the defense couldn't get off the field. Could not get off the field against Stanford.
Yeah. There's nothing you can defend about this loss. I mean, it's a brutal one for Florida State. And I think even, you look back to last year, this is probably worse than any game FSU lost in 2024 when you think about the caliber of the opponent and the way that they played. I mean, Stanford's not a good football team, and they rank in the bottom 90 in the majority of categories on offense and defense. They were giving up over 30 points a game coming into this one. And I mean, it's not like they had played a bunch of world beater offenses. I mean, the best team on their schedule so far, probably Virginia. And Virginia beat FSU. Virginia's an above-average football team. They're good. Same thing with Pitt. Pitt's an above-average football team. Miami is a good football team, even though, things didn't go their way on Friday night. Stanford is a bad football team with an interim head coach, a roster completely in transition. I mean, this is a program that should not be able to compete with Florida State.
I forgot they're an interim head coach. I mean, I know
Florida
Frank Wright.
State.
We all know Frank Wright, but I always forget that this is an interim head coach. Let's add it on more of like how awful of a team you were facing.
It is. Florida State was the team that looked overmatched tonight.
Even Andrew Luck was having to coach on this. Did y'all see Andrew Luck practically coaching as a general manager out there, having to go talk to his offensive lineman, going to help out players, putting injured players over his shoulder? Shit.
And it's another first for Mike Norvell, the first loss to Stanford for FSU in their first ever meeting.
I don't know if there's any left. Are there any left?
Oh, I'm sure there's some left.
Jack State. What else we got?
And keep in mind that the last time we saw Stanford's head coach as a head coach somewhere else, he was the head coach of the Carolina Panthers. He lasted 11 games and went 1-10.
Yeah. And I don't think he really had to do anything crazy tonight. He really did not have to whenever FSU's causing that many penalties to themselves and they have no offensive play. Because here's the deal. You have been relying on your offense to put you in games to be able to win. You were nervous as hell about your defense. I was nervous about this defense going into this game, even if it was Stanford. And here we are. Florida State can't get anything going offensively, and they only score 13 points. Really, just a touchdown. You mean you had Jake Weinberg get his points off the field goals. But like you have no offensive threat there, and you already know what you're getting from your defense. You're screwed. You're absolutely screwed, gentlemen. I mean,
by the way, this is also the first time that Frank Reich has ever been a college coach at any kind of level, like not even like a coordinator or a position coach. His first time ever coaching college.
And they just randomly brought him in a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Just came off the streets, literally just plucked him off. And I'm
But at
pretty sure
least-
he's been vocal. He doesn't even want to be a head coach. He's like, I'll step in for a little bit and help you out, Andrew Luck, for sure. Why not? We're friends.
It's always good when FSU can show up with 13 points and 13 penalties, though.
The discipline was absolutely stupid. I mean, that's what I knew early on. I mean, I didn't get to see it, but then whenever y'all were tweeting it, seeing that there was already a delay of game on the first play, I said, "Oh, that's how this is going to go."
Crazy.
That's when I know the team is checked out. They're checked out.
We've watched a lot of football in our lives. I don't think any of us have ever seen that. A delay of game on the first ever play from in a game. Not even in like the first play in a series. The first play of the game.
I'm sorry. I mean, it's late. I got to laugh. Like, I mean, at this point, that was the same way last year. After a couple of games when you knew the team didn't care anymore, you just kind of got to laugh, put it on the background on the TV, and just try to enjoy yourselves and grab a cold one. But I mean, this one tonight, though, was even more of that just hurts you more because you're staying up late for this shit. It hurts you more personally because you're going to lose sleep going into Sunday on this. Just hurts you. It hurts you, man. It's a brutal feeling for the FSU fan base that I know. You have diehards, you have people that also big time boosters, big time boosters, medium sized boosters, small bit, whoever is contributing to this program in any way, shape, or form. It's an utter disappointment to what this product does on the field, and it all starts up the top with Mike Norvell, who that was likely his last game. If it's not his last game that he called, and the administration is now now we question the administration of where it goes next. I mean, that should do it. That should do it if this program is really about being Florida State as a football program. Michael Alford has a big decision to make. I mean, it's probably being made over this.
And he was at the game.
Back. It's going to be a very long plane ride back. Either that discussion's happening now off to the side and that they're going to meet in the morning, or they go ahead and do this on the plane and go meet at the very back, and we have a little chit chat back by the flight attendants area. I don't know, but it's got to be donezo's. Done.
He was at the game tonight. Saw ESPN stoking the tires a little bit when FSU was losing and showing a conversation between him and Norvell, I guess, back during pregame. So, yeah, we'll have to see what happens. You know, it's a tough move for Florida State to make, obviously, considering all the finances that they've committed to Mike Norvell, the buyout, and everything that they would have to do with the assistant coaching staff that they just brought in as well. But, I think at this point, I mean, we've seen the results on the field. It's just going to result in less support from the fan base, less money coming in. Obviously, you put so much into this football-only facility and the new renovations into Doak Campbell Stadium. It just feels like it's time to rip off the Band-Aid. I mean, you've got a bye week here to kind of regroup if they do decide to make that decision ahead of your next home game against Wake Forest in early November.
By the way. Yeah.
I mean, if
Except
things
for you. You'll be
if
there.
things stay as they are, I don't think there will be a lot of fan support for that one. But, it's definitely a tough day for the Florida State athletic program.
We've heard so much from, Norvell said it all the time. The standard is the standard. Losing to Stanford isn't the standard. Getting outgained by 150 yards and losing isn't the standard. Losing 9 straight ACC games is not the standard. Like, at some point, you've got to live up to that standard. That goes to Alford as well. Set the standard, saying this isn't acceptable. We got to go in a different direction. Now, what that direction is from moving forward, I'm not sure, because we've talked about it a lot the last couple of weeks. There's not a surefire option out there. And there's only going to be more and more jobs opening up over the next few weeks. It's like, what direction that they decide to go there, who knows? And, maybe this is one of those where Florida State says, we're going to commit to firing him, but we're going to wait until after the season so they can save themselves $9 million or $8 million or whatever it is. But I think it's pretty clear what direction they're going to be going.
Yeah, Mike put FSU and Alford and the administration in a very tough spot. I mean, before that, going into it now, it's like, all right, this has to happen by Sunday. Like, it has to. But like you said, you save a decent amount, not everything, but you save a decent amount of money. That's what I would imagine after the Pitt loss. That was a direction we were all headed, was after the season, you move on from Mike, or you might save him for another season, which I know nobody at all wants to hear that whatsoever. Certainly after tonight, absolutely not. No. But like we said earlier on our Wednesday show, I mean, there's a lot of things. Once you move on from Mike, there's a lot of things that still have to go on afterward. It's a full reset. It's a full reset of the program, certainly at the new stage of where college football is at. And that's fine. I mean, that's going to take another 2 to 3 years, but you've kind of already been on that roller coaster ride. I know you went and you had that run in 2023. And you went 13-0, got snubbed from the college football playoff and such, but that shouldn't affect you that much to go the next season 2-10. Cry about it for a little bit, but you can't go 2-10 the next season. So that roller coaster, that's not the level type of coach that should be coaching at Florida State whatsoever, ever. You lose to Duke, you lose to all these other ACC teams that are god awful. You lose to Stanford with 5 stands and 5 people in the stands. That's the standard that Mike Norvell has broken, but they've got to somehow bring that back. And I don't know who the immediate person would be that for, or what kind of direction, Alford or whoever it is, administration is going to do that. But it's a lot that goes with it, because you put so many resources, like you were just saying, Dustin, you put so many resources into a new staff. I mean, you kept some of them, which some of those were questionable for sure. But still, you brought in Tony White, you brought in Gus Malzahn, brought in some assistants with both of those guys to come along with. And that was a lot of money. And then now you got to work on retaining your star players that you have from this season, because there are some young guys that have impressed you. But that's going to be very tough. That you're going to have to deal with. And then now, Dustin, you're going to have probably a busy Sunday tomorrow as well, recruiting that class. Bye-bye. They got to figure out now the recruiting side of things at the high school level.
You say that like they ever figured it out to begin with. Like we've been talking about the last 6 years.
They have a pretty solid class committed at the moment.
Did any of us have faith they'd be able to keep it?
Well, if you have an improvement of a season, you win 8 games. Even if you
went
7,
13-0 and couldn't get a good class.
New staff. Got to hope that some people could maybe pull it in, and some coaches couldn't in the last couple of cycles. That's for sure. But not saying that it was going to be a surefire that they're going to hold on to that class. But now it's it's complete collapse right there on that end.
And I mean, it's a really unprecedented climb down for Florida State. It felt like this program was on the right track a couple of years ago. You had the 10-win season in 2022, obviously come out with the 13-0 and make it to the ACC championship, and you're right there on the cusp of the college football playoff and get that snatched out of your hands by a bunch of people in a hotel room. And, ever since then, it just hasn't been the same Mike Norvell. It hasn't been the same Florida State. Like you said, Logan, 2-10 last season. It felt like you were kind of getting out some of the demons to begin the year, beating Alabama the way they did, and seemed like Florida State was going to start to make that climb back up. But, I mean, these last 4 games, it's been shades of last year for the Seminoles, and I just don't really see any way for Mike Norvell to get his way to find a way out of this one. And it's just even crazier to think, you had that 2023 season. Obviously, Mike Norvell gets the giant contract and the massive buyout as well. And then right after that, everything goes in the tank. I mean, it's something. There are going to be 30 for 30s about this one day. It's something that's going to be studied because, I mean, there are some weird things in college football. This is one of the weirdest that I've ever seen.
And you want to talk about what ifs? I mean, we talked about this last time. What if he took that Bama job? What if Alford says, okay, fine, go? Everyone would have been upset in the moment. And I mean, everybody. Everybody would have been pissed.
Absolutely.
And here we are, rough maths, 19 games later.
I don't want to look at that record, VZ.
It's not pretty. It's not pretty.
No. Let's just go. Yes, VZ, lighting myself on fire. So we're going to go ahead and make sure. Please don't do that here. I know it's 3 a.m. if you're on the East Coast. No lighting anybody. Nobody light themselves on fire. I can't stop laughing. But please don't do that. Don't do that. Things will get better. Basketball's coming up. Luke Lauk's pretty good.
Fun exhibition game.
Good
really
exhibition
fun exhibition game the other night. That was really fun.
We'll talk some basketball later on when it gets down the road, but we are on a massive spiral down and looking ahead at what the football world looks like for FSU with a potential new coach and whatever else comes with that. Seminole boys saying, I hate this. Well, you're one of plenty of here that are in that same boat. I know we're getting a lot of donations and such, and we deeply appreciate those, and I'm bringing those up here, but it's a lot of y'all giving y'all's takes, and we deeply enjoy those. One of those, me saying, why haven't I gotten a notification yet that Mike has been fired? It can't come soon enough, says Kyle with a $4.99 bomb.
Logan's a little ambitious when he said we'll get it by 9 a.m. tomorrow. Those usually happen between like 12 and 2 p.m. Usually. That's when those Pete Thamel tweets hit.
I hope so. I want to sleep for a little bit.
You and me both, dude.
That's just not gonna be the case. It's just not gonna be the case. I mean this is where Florida State's at right now. Like we got a bye week here for FSU, and then Wake Forest comes into Doak. Like I said, I don't know who's going to be in the stadium for that one. And then you go on the road. I mean, Clemson just lost this last weekend, and then they go off to Death Valley. And then Virginia Tech. I mean, these all now that you lost to Stanford,
everything's on the table.
yeah.
Does Rhett Lashley want to come to Tallahassee while we're talking about SMU? Does Rhett Lashley want to come to Tallahassee while we're talking about
I like
SMU?
him as a coach. He put a lot of guys in the league. He did this last year. What was I going to ask? I was going to say something there about who's interim head coach. Who do you put as interim head coach? Who's it going to be?
Odell's still there. Isn't he still the associate head coach?
He's a Gator killer, man. He's a Gator killer. He can go down to Gainesville, right? Billy Napier going to make it to tomorrow? I need a sleeper pick right now of who gets fired first between Billy and Mike. What's the more or less on that one? Who gets fired first, Mike Norvell or Billy Napier?
Well, Billy won. It was ugly.
Yeah, but I think it's over.
They won. But 4 years ago or 3 years ago, Jimbo also beat Mississippi State and got fired. So,
yeah, that's a good point.
I don't know. That administration for Florida is a cluster.
I'll say it. It's dog shit. Scott Strickland's about to hire his third football head coach. Do you know how insane that is for an athletic director to hire a third coach? Mm-hmm. That is unbelievable.
Yeah, it is.
And he just got extended. That's the crazier part. They just extended. This isn't a Florida podcast, but I do like making fun of them, even when
It
we're
is.
dog
Oh,
shit
it's
too.
great. That's phenomenal. Miami lost last night. There you go. You had fans fighting in the stands. You had them fighting around the popcorn machines. It was incredible content. If you're new here too, by the way, consider hitting the subscribe button. We go live at this rate about 2 or 3 times a week, but more specifically on Mondays and Wednesdays. And we do instant reactions after every single game. This one so happened to be at 3 a.m. for you guys. But if you're new here, we appreciate you all coming in here and chatting with us. And if you want to smack that like button, I know Florida State lost, but this helps goes out to more FSU fans if you smack that like button down below. Jacob Rogers, I don't know who Jacob is. Is this one of y'all's friend? Or is this one of your friends, Dustin? Because I don't know who Doug is, but take a shot.
I don't know who Doug is either.
The only Doug that comes to mind is from Liberty Mutual with the emu.
Well, we don't have an emo to give me a shot. I sure as hell am not taking a shot at 3 a.m. I should have been drinking during the game, but I decided to stay.
Been asleep at 3 a.m.
Yeah, no, this is where it's at. But yeah, Florida State, they're in a crisis mode. They're in absolute crisis mode, and we'll see what ends up happening tomorrow for Florida State. The coaching search, I guess that was already beginning, I thought, from after last weekend, but now you can really just go dive deep in it. How did y'all feel about James Franklin? I don't know if y'all listened to James Franklin's
no
thing on College Game Day, but I'm sure you did, D-Lo, because you watched it.
I mean, it was a good interview, but I think he's someone that can build and develop a program, but as we've seen, he just has a tough time getting over that mountaintop against some of the elite teams in college football for whatever reason. So, I mean, it's a hire that, if Florida State was to make, I think it could stabilize you for a couple of years, but I don't know if you ever get to the mountaintop that you want to get to.
Stabilize?
Stabilize, whatever, man.
There we go. I know it's 3 a.m., but come on.
No. Beezy doesn't get to say nothing. No, he was already griping about being tired, so don't let him get on to you like that, Dustin. Don't take that. Well, yeah, James Franklin. How about Lane Kiffin now? Hey, maybe he doesn't cost as much anymore. He lost.
He's about to get extended.
He
showed up to Sanford Stadium with Jimmy Sexton. That man has already got his new contract.
This has been a crazy episode of just I'm now more looking at the college football head coaching landscape more than what's going on the field, probably just because I don't want to watch Florida State on the field right now. But and I also, too, in my mind, is in a coaching search realm already. I was in that place probably about 2 weeks ago. What happened? What timeout?
Chat's roasting me. I'm just calling.
He's getting killed in the chat right now.
Oh, Dustin's getting roasted in the chat. Damn. Not at 3 a.m.
Where are we off for the cut board? Come on.
My brain. I'm just bringing up names. Lane Kiffin. What are y'all's thoughts on Lane Kiffin as a coach? Don't think about extra things and money and all this stuff. Remember, Alfred has connection with Jerry Jones, and Jerry Jones makes the greatest decisions ever. So,
I think Lane is a good coach. I don't think he's worth paying $80 million for.
I wasn't talking about the money, but what do you think he is as a coach and what he could do to the
like
program?
if you want to go 9-3, 10-2 every year, yeah, sure. But
I'll take that, BZ. I'll take it. Sign me up. Bing, 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 bing. Auction.
But realistically, would you? Because remember how upset we got with 9-3 years with Jimbo before he finally broke through?
That takes me to the college football playoff.
I don't think not in the ACC. 9-3 does not get you to the playoffs in the ACC.
Well, you said 10-2. You said 10-2.
Even 10-2 is pushing it.
10-2. 10-2. Lane Kiffin.
Obviously we're upset with losing, but if our ceiling is 10-2, I still think Florida State fans would be upset at some point. I think he's an overrated coach, in my opinion. People are probably going to get upset at that.
I'd love it. I'd love it. Sign me up.
I would not.
Yeah. It's just tough. I mean, I think, there are probably not a lot of coaches out there that would maybe fit the standard Florida State fans are looking for, who are maybe attainable for the program right now. And there are also so many jobs open. I don't feel like it's necessarily a really deep pool of candidates like we've seen in some of the previous years recently. And, I kind of talked about on Wednesday, but at a certain point, does Florida State have to start looking at a group of 5 coaches again who have started to establish themselves? And, you're almost getting yourself right back into the same rabbit hole if you don't pick the right guy. So, yeah, I'm glad I'm not the one making the decisions right now for FSU.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you, there's a lot that I would not want. Like I think whoever hires Alex Golish is going to burn in flames. I think James Franklin, I think, is going to the SEC. Whether it's Auburn, whether it's Florida, I wouldn't want him either. To be honest, it's kind of that same thing with Lane, where the ceiling is 9-3, 10-2. That shouldn't be Florida State's ceiling.
What about the Tulane guy, Summerall?
We just went through this with a group of 5 coach, though. Will we really go right back to another American Conference coach? And like Clark Lee, he's done a phenomenal job at Vanderbilt, but we can already see the jokes now going, oh my God, Florida State just hired a 22-34 coach. Like
Kenny Dillingham?
Dilly?
He's not leaving.
Dilly?
He's
Dilly
not
around
leaving.
with Dilly? Can I entertain you guys with a name that you have not brought up yet?
Okay. Let's get a little more realistic. Like when I think the first realistic name, and we're way ahead of ourselves. The first realistic name for me is Brent Key, and I don't even know if we can get him out of Georgia Tech.
Well, isn't that crazy to say that you can't get him out of Georgia Tech?
I mean, he's a Georgia Tech grad. Like it's one of those.
I get the ties kind of.
I just don't know how much that would move me. Like if Florida State was.
But that's what I'm saying. Like there's not a lot of coaches. Like everyone loves Braum. He is Louisville through and through. Born and raised there. Went to Louisville. He's not leaving.
Yeah, I saw the tweets coming last night, but I mean that's kind of the fan base right now. You'll take anybody that's getting a big win, anybody, because next week Louisville could just shit the bed and lose their next game. Like that's just kind of where it's at. Just like how Rubbish is putting here on YouTube. Any coach, anybody that's maybe a little bit
okay, then pay me $1 million instead of paying someone 80. That's my point.
You think you can step in there?
Hell yeah, sign me up.
Yeah. Dan Mullen. Mullen, he's over there at UNLV.
No,
come on,
y'all are mad we're not recruiting right now, and you want Dan Mullen?
Like, a cute quarterback whisperer. Come on.
Yeah, Boise State took UNLV to the woodshed today.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe if Dan Mullen's right there, and then here we go, grand finale.
No,
the Jimbo Fisher discussion. Jimbo.
There was a great article that Stuart Mandel of The Athletic did a couple of weeks ago when Arkansas fired Sam Pittman and they reinstated Bobby Petrino. Hiring your former coaches never works. It's worked like 2 times. It worked with Bill Snyder and it worked with someone else. I forget who else he mentioned in the article. It never works.
No Jimbo for you, D'Lo. You don't want to have some. He'd be able to get into the facility. He had called for this facility. This is what he wanted. Could you imagine ribbon cutting with Jimbo? Then the 30 for 30 season part 2 begins.
It took him almost 10 years to get Jimbo what he wanted, but yeah, I agree with Austin. I just don't think the reunions really work out, especially with the way it ended for Jimbo at Texas A&M. It just, he's such a great recruiter, but it's more about relationships and recruiting nowadays, as we know. And you can be a great recruiter and it not necessarily matter anymore. So I don't know if Jimbo Fisher is necessarily a fit in this current age of college football with how it's going with all the NIL and everything.
This is getting fun, I'll be honest with you. This is getting really fun.
Oh, this is the one I wanted to bring up. Here we go.
Bob Stoops.
Bring it back.
Ready? Bob Stoops. It was always, it's Bob until it ain't. And it sure ain't no more. It's Bob time. You think it's Bob Stoops time? Where's he at? What is he doing? Is he still coaching in the XFL?
All I know is I've seen him in an advertisement or some kind of commercial, and it took me like 3 times seeing the commercial. Go, wait, is that Bob Stoops?
He is the Dallas Renegades head coach, UFL.
Ooh, okay. I'm pretty sure he won the XFL championship. Or at least has won one.
We're getting a little too far down the rabbit hole.
He did back in
15 in the morning.
Did back in 2023.
2023, May 13th, won the XFL championship. There you have it. But you're ready for Bob? This is the first time I've seen Dustin really approval of this message of a head coach.
I don't approve. I just think it's funny this is coming up again 6 years later.
It's very funny.
Okay, let's run through these last three real quick. We'll start off with Urban Meyer real quick.
Last time he was on a football field, he kicked his kicker. I'm good.
Weinberg could take it, though. Come on. Just being a hard coach, man. It didn't work in the NFL. College football, though, it could work. But there'll probably be a lot of off the field bad things happening. So we do not want that.
Yeah, you never know where he is on weekends.
Yeah, Tallahassee, College Town, it might be a little too crazy for him. Keep an eye on him and where his hands are at Township.
Sonic commercials. That's what it was. Thank you, David. I knew it was some kind of restaurant. It's Sonic. Thank you.
What? Bob
They got
Stoops
Bob
is doing
Stoops?
Yeah.
Are they that like Bob Stoops is not that big of a name. Like I can understand you use a nick.
That's why I was like, that's why it took me a few times seeing it going, is that Bob Stoops?
I think I've been to a Sonic twice in my lifetime, and one of them I had a I had a breakup. I had a breakup. I'm pretty sure it was. Actually,
That's Sonic?
Yeah, it was like one of those things back in college where, we were talking and we kind of just had to end things off, and we had it off of a slushy.
Yeah.
Tough times. 3:15 in the morning here. Josh Grizzard, now we're talking. Here we go. I'm down here in Tampa. Josh Grizzard, if you guys all know, the offensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Probably, though, with the rate of Buccaneers offensive coordinators, is probably just going to become a candidate for an NFL host.
Is he the guy from Lizard Lick?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I heard that on the broadcast last week. I'm like, he's from where?
Yeah. You see what he's been able to do with absolutely a lot of losses and attrition to his starting guys on the offensive side of the ball. Wide receivers gone, no Mike Evans. Bucky Irving's out, multiple offensive linemen. He lost Tristan Wirfs to begin the season, and Baker Mayfield is having an MVP caliber season so far, and they're 5-1. Okay, now we're talking. We can start working on that. I'll ask Grizz how he's feeling about the Seminoles if he wants to go get into on the college.
Ask him if he wants to leave Baker Mayfield for what's going on in Tallahassee right now.
It's been 10 years since he was a coach in college, though, and he was a quality control analyst then.
That's also a tough ask.
Yeah, I love Eric here. Just one of Oregon's assistants. Just grab one of those guys. Just grab an Oregon assistant. Can't grab Dan Mullen out of there. Dan Mullen, homeboy.
Dan Lanning.
Long day. Dan Lanning. Yeah, it's a Dan. It's a Dan. It's as close as I can get. But yes, Florida State does need and Dolphins head coach. Oh my God, this is incredible. This was a good way to end off the show, though, and get a little giggles and some laughs going. But there will be some true conversations we will have to have about the future of Florida State's head coaching job. And it should be a pretty, at least on that front, for you guys entertaining. What's happening on the field, I don't think it will be that case moving forward, because you did not have an offensive side of the ball perform in any way, shape, or form of a Power 4 team tonight. And sadly, that was against Stanford, who's a really bad team. And your defense played as we've seen the last 4 games for FSU. So it's been a pretty rough going for the Seminoles. We'll see what ends up happening later today, I guess, with Mike Norvell and where things head there moving forward. But you know what? I completely forgot. And I don't know if the guys are going to stay here with me on this, but I do have to do some sleeper picks for Sunday's games. Shout out to Sleeper.
Some real degenerate behavior.
This is tough, but we have to do it. We have to make some picks, gentlemen. If I can get the
we were gonna hit for this game too.
Got the Mike Norvell odds on there.
Mm-hmm. What'd you say?
Mike Norvell odds are on there.
Mike Norvell odds? We can check.
Probably not.
Check. Let's see. We can see if they pop up on there. Let's see. No, I did not see the Mike Norvell odds on Sleeper, but we're going to make some picks on Sunday. You can help us out in the chat. Shout out to our guys at Sleeper. Let's jump in here and make some quick ones. Cam Scadaboo, what does he need? 55.5 against Denver. It's a good defense. He's been getting a lot of yards, though, lately, and they actually upped him up to 1.9.
Whatever we decide, let's decide quick so I can go to bed.
Baker. We were just talking about him.
Sure.
More. Baker on the 2. Monday Night Football. Matthew Stafford. I'll tell you what. Oh, come on. Drake May is going to throw more than 234 yards against Tennessee. More. This is easy, y'all. Easy. You want to give your guy Justin Jefferson a touchdown against Philly or nah? Don't feel too confident there.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
That's requiring me to think at this point in time. Not happening.
Yeah, it's tough. Let's just look at some pass yards. Let's go quarterbacks. God. Bo Nix.
Bo Nix less. I'm feeling it.
Against the Giants, though.
That's the exact perfect time to bet less. Or pick less.
218 though.
The Giants don't. They're not that great, man.
Didn't he just throw for like 300 last game?
It's exactly. This is you got to zig when they're zagging.
You think so? Oh, man, there's got to be something.
Fields less than 175 feels pretty good.
He might get pulled from the game, to be honest with you. But it's against Carolina. That's where it's tough here.
Carolina's at least got J.C. Horn.
Yeah. They shut out the Falcons.
Yeah.
Dude, how is Jane Daniels going to throw for more than 230 yards? He has no starting wide receivers in this game. None. He has no starting wide receiver.
All I'm saying is when Bo Nix throws for 108 tomorrow, I don't want to hear it.
He's got Luke McCaffrey.
I know. I mean, Luke's not bad, but they need more, man. Maybe Zach Ertz goes off. I'm not reading all that. I can't read that right now, Sleeper. It's great. It's great info, but it's way too early in the morning. I think, oh my gosh.
Just pick one.
Are we doing alt? Hold on. Here we go. We're going to do an alt. That seems good right there from Bijan. He only needs more than 100 rushing and receiving yards.
Sure.
Bang. There we are. Easy picks. 5 buckaroonies. $5 for 16-15.
We need easy something because we're running out.
Yeah, we're down bad.
We were gonna get it, and Stanford's running back got hurt. He was 15 yards away.
Yep. Well, make sure you guys use that code Noles down below. You get 100% match up to $100 on your first deposit. Shout out to our friends over there at Sleeper, and also major shout out to you guys hanging out with us this morning on a very, 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 very late episode. Hopefully y'all can get some sleep in, enjoy the Sunday amount of football for you guys, and then we'll be live. D-Lou and I will be live tomorrow, practically on Monday at 12:30, and it should be a pretty interesting. We'll see. We usually go live after Mike Norvell speaks at his press conference.
We may be live later today.
That is true. I was planning to enjoy, the Bucks don't play on Sunday, so I was planning on going to a bar and enjoying. That's why I didn't drink tonight, but might be doing a show during Sunday football. Just depends on what's going on with Florida State and everything. But that's going to do it for us. Appreciate y'all a ton. Thanks a lot. If you're still on here, smack that like button. If you're new, smack the subscribe button too. We appreciate it a ton. We'll see you guys on Monday. Nonetheless, y'all get some sleep. We're out of here. Peace, guys.